Welcome to Cooking with Mama Bear. I'm your host, Mama Bear, and today we are going to make fried chicken. So before we start, make sure you ask your parent or guardian, can you cook in the kitchen? Because if they say yes, then you can cook in the kitchen. So first, let's start by washing our hands. Okay, we're ready to start. So first what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my raw chicken and I rinsed the meat. So every time you use meat, no matter what kind it is, you need to rinse it. Sometimes when the meat is at the butcher, it could get bone particles or other things on it, and you want to make sure you rinse all that off. So I rinsed my chicken already. I'm going to place my chicken right on my tray and then I'm going to season it. Now, so I don't cross-contaminate anything, I'm going to take the lids off of my spices or herbs so I don't have to touch them too much. So I'm just going to open these and then we can start seasoning. And this. All right. Now, I'm going to try to use one hand only to touch the raw meat and the other hand to put the seasoning on because I have to flip the meat over. You know what I forgot to say? We need tongs because we've got to flip the chicken over and a frying pan. My bad. Okay, so first, let's take out our chicken, and it is already defrosted. These are chicken legs with the skin on. Again, I already rinsed this meat. Okay, I'll lay a couple going this way. Okay, so now that my chicken is on the tray, I'm just gonna start with, I guess it doesn't really matter. I'm gonna use my spice blend. I can't tell you what the company name is. That's okay, because I'm not sponsored. Okay, so I am just going to gently just sprinkle this on. I'm not putting a whole lot on. And that's it. Ta-da, that's it. So I'm going to put this over here. That means I already used that. Next, I'm going to use garlic powder. And you only need a little bit of this because garlic has a very strong flavor. When you dry an herb or spice, the flavor intensifies. So that's why you only need a little bit of this. Onion powder, you don't need a whole lot of this either. I know it's really hard to see because it's really a light colored powder. Now we're going to use some paprika, and this is a red powder. It's not spicy. I know it looks like it would be spicy, but it's not. But it adds a nice color to the chicken, and it'll give it a nice, help it to get a nice golden brown crust when it's done frying. I also add some dried parsley. This is just for color's sake. There's no real flavor this is giving off, but again, it gives it a nice, pretty color when it comes out the pan. I use a little seasonal, and I use just a tiny bit because I'm trying to watch my salt intake. Oh, okay, so now, did I do black pepper? No, okay. So, see, that's why it's good to put them all on this side so you know which ones did I use already, so you don't overdo it. So, I am just going to put a little black pepper on here. Okay, this looks good. Now we're going to flip them over so we can do the other side. So, I'm just going to flip it over, and the other side's going to look bright, light white. Okay, so we're going to do it again. Now I'm going to move all my spices and move them to this side, and so then I'll remember that I've put whatever spices on. Okay, so that looks good. And I'm not going in any particular order, just as long as I use all of them. Is this my garlic? Yeah. Not too much of this. Okay, this is my onion, pepper or onion powder. I could use onion salt, but then it might get too salty if I use the seasonal as well. And a little more paprika. And then a little more salt, just a little bit. Okay, don't judge me because this stuff is greasy because my family likes to use it a lot and they touch it. Okay, the next step is to get your paper bag. So I'm going to wash my hands real quick, and then I'm going to come back and get the paper bag. Okay, I'm back. I just washed my hands. So I'm going to open up my paper bag. And I'm gonna put some flour inside my bag. Now some people take these same spices and season the flour as well. And that adds even more flavor to your fried chicken. But I am not gonna do that. And that's okay. My fried chicken will still taste good. I am gonna scoop up maybe 2 cups of flour. So I'm just going to shake it to level it off. The flour is just kind of like a guesstimation. I do have my scoop today, so I could scoop my flour in. But again, the flour does not need to be exact. You just want enough to be able to coat all your chicken. Okay, this looks good. Now, you want to mention, or I should mention, before you put the flour in the bag, make sure there's no holes in it, because once you shake it up, flour is going to go everywhere through that little hole that you didn't see. So I'm going to put my chicken in here. I have 2 different tongs. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to use these tongs to lift up my chicken and put in the bag. I could use my hand, but then I have to wash it again, and that's doing too much. So I'm going to use my tongue. Sometimes when there's like a light side, like when I flipped it over on one side and the other side, there's a little light piece. So I will rub it on the tray to pick up that extra spice that's down there. Yes, I will. And I just drop it right down into the bag. So I'm just going to grab all these pieces. So your tray will look kind of smeared, but at least you got all the seasoning on the chicken. Because we don't want anything to go to waste. Now you might think, why does she have 2 tongs? That's another dish to wash. Because this is going to be my raw chicken tongs, and then when it's just about done and fried and ready to come out, I'm going to use a different tong to take it out of the fried oil so I'm not cross-contaminating. And again, I know it sounds like that's doing a lot, but I'm just trying to be safe. Because food poisoning is no joke. Okay, here's my last piece, my tray. It's not clean, but I got a lot of my spices up off the tray. Okay, so now you're going to roll your bag. Shake it. Okay, so I should take that. Okay, so I see there's a little slit that's coming out. Okay, but see, I got a hole right there. Lord. But it's coated. Okay, so this is what it looks like. I only shook it a little bit. So here we go. Here's a piece of chicken. Now I'm going to shake the extra flour off, and it's ready to go in the hot oil. So before we do that, I should cut on the pan. So I have a skillet here, a fry pan. It has raised sides. It also has a lid that fits right on top. And that'll be critical for helping it to cook evenly all the way to the bone, especially on bigger pieces of chicken, like chicken legs, chicken breast. And then I also have my oil. So we're going to go to the stove, and then we're going to fry these babies up. Okay, my chicken is ready to go into the oil. I poured in about 2.5 to 3 cups of oil in my fry pan. I have my heat on 5, which is about 5, which is medium heat. You want to make sure when you test the heat of your oil, if your hand's about 12 inches above your pan and you can feel the heat, it's probably hot enough. So I'm going to take out my pieces of chicken one at a time. I'm going to shake the extra flour off. I'm going to gently place it in my oil. It should start to sizzle as soon as it goes in the pan. That's another indication the oil is hot enough. So I'm going to continue to put this chicken in, and I'm alternating like the thick side this way and then the thick side down here so I can squeeze in more pieces of chicken in the pan at one time. You want the oil to be able to go around each piece though so it can fry properly. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a lid on it. That'll help the steam to stay in the pan and the heat to also, I shouldn't say steam, the heat to go down to the bone of the chicken to make sure it's cooked thoroughly all the way through. You'll leave the lid on to the halfway mark. You'll know it's done when the bottom is golden brown. Once you're ready to flip it over, and that's probably going to take at least 10 minutes, maybe even 12 minutes, 8 to 12 minutes on the one side. When you flip it over, you leave the lid off, and that'll crisp up the chicken skin. If you leave the lid on, your chicken skin will be very, not slimy, soggy. So normally people want crispy fried chicken, not soggy fried chicken. So we're going to let this cook, and then I'll show you what it looks like when it's done. Okay, it's been about 10 to 12 minutes. I'm going to flip these over. See, that's golden brown on one side. And we're going to continue to let this cook for another 8 minutes. Okay, you'll notice the chicken is golden brown and it's done, so it's ready to come out. I'm going to lay it on a plate with paper toweling. I'm going to use my clean tongs and just place the chicken on this plate. I'm going to pick this up, allow some of the excess grease to drip off. And I'm going to put it on my paper towel. And if I didn't already mention, you want to take the lid off after it's done cooking on the one side so it can get crispy. And then this chicken is ready to eat. You probably want to let it cool down though. I hope you enjoyed this cooking show with Mama Bear. Don't forget, stay and look while you cook. Bye.